What's up, basketball coaches, players, and fans? Welcome back to the Pass First podcast, where we share our knowledge of the game. My name is Augie Johnson, and I'm here with my partner, Alex Engel, and we hope that you're able to take something away from today's episode that will help you in your basketball journey. So today, we're going to be talking all about the culture of basketball. We're going to be talking about pickup basketball and what it means to the game. We got an interesting guest on today who has helped drive the culture in this area forward, especially in pickup basketball. So we'll go ahead and introduce him in just a minute. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. All right, guys, welcome in. We have Trevor Weger here that is going to be talking all about Project Backboard, pickup basketball, Venice Beach basketball. And I'll just go ahead and lay the background for you real quick, and then I'll go ahead and let him get his 2 cents in. But I guess this was about 1 or 2 years ago, maybe 3 at this point. But, Trevor was always a guy that we would play basketball with, pick up runs with and stuff. And I'm talking about Alex and myself. And then he moved away for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he's bringing Venice Beach Basketball League up to Avila Beach. And so basically it was just going to be this monster pickup run at Avila Beach, probably one of the coolest beaches that I've seen to play on. I love that place. There's a lot of good ones.
Absolutely.
But and so we put on this just great pickup run. Alex and me were on the same team. Trevor hooped a bunch of games. He had the flashy shorts on. And I guess we'll start from there. So besides all the pickup basketball that we played all together, you took off and you went down to Venice Beach. Why don't you start with what made you do that, and then how you got involved with that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of consumed us. So it started with me and Renee, who you know, and we met Nick, who was the founder of Venice Ball. He's the owner, the founder, the whole shebang. And so we met him just randomly at Venice. We went down there for a quick trip, and he told us, like, he invited me. I hooped with them. We played one-on-one. He was like having someone film him. And so I asked him, I was like, what's the deal with that? And he's trying to get me with and one moves and stuff. And I was like, dude, what's up with that? Like, I'm not trying to end up on a mixtape my first time out here. What's going on? And so we keep playing. Eventually he tells me. And then next thing you know, we're going down there every weekend. I go in the draft. I get drafted. And so I'm on a team. And since me and Renee were going together, we were commuting half the time from up here. So from San Luis Obispo County all the way over to LA to Venice Beach. So we were making that commute on a weekend, every weekend. And so it just was like, okay, I'm here still. Like, I would play my game, but I'm still here because Renee's filming all these games for him. And so I just kept helping, learning, doing different things for him. And Nick kind of saw that and kind of took me under his wing, and it just kept developing from there. Next thing you know, like, I'm helping him run everything. Have my hand in literally everything, every facet of the business and of Venice Ball, and meeting all sorts of different people, meeting like Tristan Jass, meeting people like the Professor, Bone Collector, getting to play with Bone Collector, playing pickup with Montrezl Harrell. Like, he's just dishing me out for threes. Like, it's just, yeah, it was unreal. And it was just just drop me in and just like consume me for 3 months, and I was hooked from there. And it was hard to even imagine anything else after that.
Yeah, that's almost like if you love basketball, you're like, I'm a lifer. I'm always going to play this game. I'll lace them up at 50. I'll be the guy that puts together the men's league. I'll wash the jerseys, like, that's the kind of love. If you have that kind of love for the game, that's a dream come true to go down and be able to do that. And, the Professor, I remember you coming back, and, you were getting older at that point. Your shot was getting better. You were hooping pretty well with us, and I remember saying, man, this guy's like the Professor now, man. I don't know if you remember me saying that. And you were like,
yeah, Kennedy.
Yeah, you were like, nah, man, it's actually T-Jazz. And I was like, I looked at it. I was like, oh, dang, yeah, T-Jazz kind of is. And so if anybody who knows that's the guy who he basically, the way he got big on social media through trick shot layups, basically. Yeah. Like the king of jelly, like, and now he's just like a respected hooper and stuff, like the young Professor. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, and just to give you some context about Renee, that's RV3 Productions. That's the guy who's done a bunch of video work for me. at my camps, just for vid chops, for all the little things I do. He's done some great work for me, and he's cut from a different cloth, and that's why I think it's cool that you hung out with him, because that guy's legit. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a perfect fit right there, and that's cool you're doing down there. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Venice Beach and just style of play and all that, and then we'll spin it all the way back together with pickup basketball in this area, or just different facets of pickup basketball. So
Definitely.
All right, going down to Venice Beach, how did you even get on the very first time? Can you tell us the very first time you got on, and how did that happen?
So, I mean, when we first went, it was what was it? It was like a Tuesday, I want to say. So it was pretty dead. I mean, there wasn't even really runs going. And so it just happened to be right timing. But the first time I really went and played pickup, luckily I didn't have a problem getting on, because by then I knew some people. And so I was just on their team. It wasn't like I was out there killing anybody. I was the guy out there to shoot the wide open three when it got kicked out to him. And aside from that, keep your mouth shut and play defense. Like, it was that kind of situation. But it was a full crash course learning. Like, you got put in and you got dropped in, and playing basketball from around here, I feel like the style of basketball in like San Luis Obispo County and just Central Coast, like, it makes it where you can hoop anywhere, I feel like, because of the style that it is. It's a lot of screens. It's a lot of like just fundamental basketball. So it makes it where you can hoop and you can compete everywhere. But then you add that plus the Venice Beach and the streetball style, and then it's where it's like, okay, you're not going to go over here and you're not going to take over anywhere, which I had to like learn that very quickly, because I would like try to do a dribble move and it would just get ripped right off the bat. So I learned that really quick. And then once I kind of figured out my roles and things, then it was like, okay, I can manage, I can know my role. And it was smooth sailing from there.
Well, do you feel like you played so much basketball down there that and against better competition, most likely, than around here? Do you feel like you got better because of that?
Absolutely. And I mean, in high school, that was so for context back to that too, is I left my junior year of high school, went and lived with my dad over in Santa Clarita, which is like over by Magic Mountain, still LA County. And just the 1 year that I was there, I didn't play high school basketball because of the commute that we were making. And I just played at like LA Fitness every single day. I had an LA Fitness membership. I was there from after school for 3 hours until my dad got off work, picked us up, and we drove home for an hour and a half. So that year, I had the most growth in my game that I had ever prior to that. So I got back over here. I'm playing club back over here, and I'm killing everybody in my club team. Like, around here, it was like the only person that I couldn't like that was still a struggle for me was like Quentin, who wound up playing. I think he's still playing, and like dudes like I think Quentin was the only main one. Like, even Blaney, Matthew Blaney, who's still playing right now, when I got back, even he was like, all right, he's like, I see your game changed a lot. Like,
nice.
So that getting introduced to different cultures like that definitely changes your game, and like it just grows exponentially.
Yeah, I think that all hoopers, you need to hear that you got to seek out good competition. I mean, wherever you're at, and whether you have to go play against adults, if you're in high school, like, do that. Like, if you have that opportunity. We used to always play at Paso Kennedy, Paso Robles, California, all three of us. And I really thought that it was an advantage for those high school kids in Paso and a lot of Templeton as well to have that and to be able to do that when the kids in Atascadero, it's a pretty far drive for them to go play up there. So anyways, all right. So let's just dive real deep into kind of like the rules. Like, when we're just talking about pickup, we're not talking about the league, but matter of fact, first of all, give us a little context to what the league is, and then we'll dive into the rules.
Okay. Yeah. So Venice Basketball League it's on its 14th year, and it was founded. Nick came from France, and he came here he was in his senior year of high school, and he fell in love with Venice basketball, just the beach, just the pickup, and he just wanted to start a league. He started a league, kept running, kept growing, kept building. Next thing you know, it's getting a lot of recognition. He's worked with every brand known to man. And now it's a full-scale semi-professional streetball league. I mean, it's Venice basketball and Dykeman are like the two meccas really for basketball, street basketball.
Yeah.
And it's the on the West Coast, there's nothing close to it. I mean, there's nothing, it owns this side, but it's you play full season. It's typically about anywhere between 15, it's around 15 games. It depends on how long the season can be. And then at the end, you got the championship, and winner takes all. You get the bragging rights every year. It kind of elevates a little bit more of what's on the line, but those bragging rights always stay the same. And yeah, I mean, it works same formats as everything. It's called a little looser, obviously, for the highlights and stuff. One of the biggest rules is you got the 2-minute sit down. So if someone gets dunked on, they got to sit down for 2 minutes.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. And what, like, name drop some of the people that played in that league?
I mean, consistently play over the years. You've got Ziggy, who plays. He's one of the main Globetrotters. You've got Chris Staples' career fully started there after
Dunker.
he was a Globetrotter. Tristan has played numerous times. Montrez Harrell comes pretty much every year. Meta World Peace has a team every year. He used to play a lot more once, like, fresh off his retirement. Now he just mostly coaches. His son plays on that team typically. We've had, I mean, yeah, George Hill's come, you name it. We've had quite a broad amount of people.
Cool. I love it. And I mean, it just goes to show Nick, what's his last name? I know it's probably French, probably tricky.
Ansem. It's not too tricky. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got like 3 names, but that's what he goes with.
There's only a few people in my life that I've met that I felt like, wow, this person's really moving the culture of basketball forward, because I think that's every coach's goal, is you want your town to be a basketball town in a way. You want the kids to grow up to want to be hoopers and stuff. And so, like, I always like think about the culture in this area and just in general in basketball, you know, some sports are dying sports. So we're just grateful that basketball is still popular. So anyways, I met 2 people in my life that I felt I moved the game forward like that. And he was one of them. I was like, wow, because he drove up to Avila even. He showed up, you know, and he brought his whole crew. And I was like, wow, that's cool, man. That was like a special day. Like, I'll always remember that one. But anyways, and the other person was my buddy Gino, who used to run basketball camps up north. Same kind of hippie basketball vibe. And anyways, okay, so let's dive into those rules then. And we're talking right now about pickup basketball. The league's great and all. I know there's refs that are loosely reffing out there. I remember when we played, there was no help defense allowed. I was like, what is this? Alex, you remember that?
Yeah. Man to man at all times.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, man, this is killing me. All right, the coach in me at least. But all right, so pickup basketball at Venice Beach. How do you get on the court typically? Like, I'm not talking about – I'm saying if I go right now with no connection.
Yeah. I mean, if you just pull up, it's typically someone's got to pick you up, or you got to call next. It depends on how many people are really there that day. It just varies. But those are the 2 ways. And you got to – if you want to get on and you want to run, you want to, like, stay on, you got to put together usually a pretty good 5. And, I mean, it's crazy. We called them we had a couple names. We had the Beach Bums for one of the names, and we called them Born and Raised was the sponsor, the brand, that clothing brand. So, I mean, there's literally a group of like 12 people that are borderline homeless, but all they do all day is try to pick up chicks, and they play basketball all day. So that's their courts. Like, those are their courts. So you're competing against dudes that literally are there every single day playing all day long. You won't go a single day going to Venice and they aren't there. Wow. So that's how it is. That's how crazy it is, honestly.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wow. So I guess I wouldn't want to just go there and get some jumpers up. I might have to bring my 5. But if anybody's listening to this and you're curious, you're like, why are they even talking about pickup basketball? What even is this? what does it mean to get picked up? You know, what does all this even mean? We're talking about like open gym basketball. Okay. We're
Yeah.
talking about how do you get onto the court when you don't know anybody, right? What are the rules? And every open gym, every run is totally different. I mean, you might go to some runs, and this is typical in our area, where if you lose, you have the opportunity to go over there and shoot and make a free throw. If you make your free throw, you get
Only
back on.
place.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it just depends where you go, right? If you're going to a
Yeah.
family friendly place, a lot of places, you're probably going to do that. But anyways, and then we're talking about this where if you lose and you got to go and collectively say, hey, you guys, can you pick me up? Do you need one? Is there 4 guys waiting? Like they might just say, we
Yeah.
want the best guy. Normally, they're going to pick
Yeah.
the best guy, pick him up, and then you're going to play. So you might never even win a game, but you play every game because you're getting
Well,
picked up.
it's so bad too. I mean, you have a run that's going, someone's playing 5-on-5 right there, and then the best player on the team that just lost, they drop somebody that they let's say the person that had next already had 5. They drop someone on theirs and pick up the guy that was balling in the game before.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they don't care. They just want to win.
Okay. So what's typically the score that you guys play to out there?
It's usually 11.
Ones and twos?
Yeah, ones and twos.
Is it
And
straight
you got
up?
the NBA 3-point on the courts out there.
So you got to hit an NBA 2-pointer.
Yeah, it's a deep 2. Yeah.
See, that's actually how it should be. If you really, because, okay, this is a whole tangent, but normally, or in a lot of places it differs, but what's most common is you play ones and twos and pick up to 11, to 7, whatever, 15, 21. And the 2-pointer is now worth 4 points if you were to convert that to normal basketball, because, the ratio of 1 to 2 is not the same as 2 to 3. So playing ones and twos and pick up, if you have a couple good shooters on your team, you can just bomb away threes and run the court and never lose, which is awesome. And I love that. Gives all 3 of us some value because that's all we do. Well, not all we do, but that's our thing, right? And then, but playing twos from NBA distance, I think, is that equalizer. What are your thoughts on that one, Alex? Should an open gym be NBA 3?
I don't know if I would say NBA. I would say maybe like the college line. But the thing is, most gyms don't have those lines. Like most gyms don't have NBA lines or college lines. I know some of them do, but I would say probably at least like a college or international line, because the high school line, it's just for grown men. It seems like it's so close. So I think, I don't have a problem backing it up a little bit, but I feel like for NBA, I mean, I think that would almost equalize it like too far, because I don't really think there's that many people that shoot consistently from NBA range.
That could be true. I think that percentage drops real quick. Because I mean, you got the big men that can get out there and knock down a high school 3 and stuff, but to step out to there, that's tough. Okay, so Trevor, what are your preferences personally? What do you like to play to? Do you like to play like we do at Kennedy and Paso, 2s and 3s to 17, which is a little bit of a different one, or what's your favorite?
I would say 1s and 2s to either 11 or 15. I like longer games, to be honest. It's more of a marathon. It makes it more fun to me, but 11 can be super quick when you're playing 1s and 2s too. So it goes both ways, but it's also nice if you just hit quick shots right off the bat. Boom, 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 game's done. It's 4 or 5 shots. Like, that's fun. But yeah, I'd say 15 1s and 2s probably my favorite, or to 21.
Ooh, that's a marathon. 21's too long for me, unless it's like really good comp and you're just like, all right, this is going to go down to the wire. But all right, let's stay on topic a little bit. We'll get back to pickup here in just a second. One thing I really am curious about though in Venice Beach is, how do you call fouls in pickup ball?
You make your own calls, but yeah, you make your own calls, but it's going to be, unless it's beyond obvious, it's going to be contested. Like probably 80% of the time, someone's going to have something to say. And I mean, there's fights that break out over calls all the time. It's just, that's kind of a normal thing. You just kind of let people handle it and then go back to playing basketball. That's what's crazy to me is over here, like a fight happens and you're like banned typically from any run or anything like that. Over there, a fight happens and you just let them hash it out for a couple minutes, and they're still game goes on just like it never happened. Like, all right, you guys handled it. Let's keep playing. Like, it's a crazy vibe, but that's yeah. Fouls happen. I mean, people, and it's different too. It's a lot more physical. The game's way more physical. Like, people are gonna grab you, people are gonna hold you, and you gotta learn like what you're actually gonna call and what you're not gonna call. Because little holds, little grabs that you may call over here, you call that over there, they're not gonna give you that any day of the week. They're not gonna give you that. So it definitely like builds up a whole new level of like toughness. And like now when I play over here, I barely call anything unless like I'm just being petty or or it's a serious foul. I'm not gonna call anything. I pick my battles. But yeah,
there's just so many levels to this pickup game that just the words you're saying, being petty, like I can think of times when I've been petty. And if you don't know about, if you've never played pickup basketball, you're like, what does that even mean? How could you be petty while playing basketball? But you know, the other team calls a weak foul or something, then you call a weak foul. And like, that's basically being petty. And this whole culture of pickup basketball is it's just a fascinating topic to me. All right, let's keep the conversation moving forward. So let's talk about, you show up and there's only it's 3-on-3. Okay, it's 3-on-3.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Venice now. We're talking about just in general. We're going to go for everyone's kind of opinions on this. You're playing 3-on-3. Okay, so it's half court, obviously. Is it make it, take it, or is it loser's ball?
So what I've actually fallen in love with, as a side note, is the FIBA style. The new about to be, it would have been an Olympic sport this year, and it's just continuous. Game never stops till you get to, I believe it's 15 or 21 are the two different markers depending on how you play it. And it's the ball goes through the net. It's the other team's ball. They got to clear it, and it's live. And it just keeps going. And that's my favorite way of basketball to actually play right now, to be honest, because threes alone are so much fun to begin with. It's spaced out enough. You can work on your moves. You can do what you want to do. And then on top of that, like, it's a workout. You keep going. You don't stop. It's a lot more of a mental game. You don't have time to really like stop and think about things. You got to really be disciplined and stick to the game plan, basically. So I found that to be a lot more fun. But in general, I like make it, take it for everything.
Okay. Yeah, I like make it, take it too. I'm old. I'm checking it up top. But no, I like quick outs too. I mean, I think just at 3-on-3 in general, for anybody, maybe a coach is listening to this, I mean, that's a great for youth, because you mentioned some things in there, right? Like, so you're spaced out. There's normally should be good spacing in 3-on-3. You get to touch the ball more often in 3-on-3. So you can run a lot of micro actions of real basketball in 3-on-3. Like, you don't need 5 to run like these most important actions. So anyways, that's a little coaching tidbit for you. What about you, Alex? What are you thinking when you're playing 3-on-3? Just give us a little picture of what it looks like.
I like make it, take it too. I've never played the one that Trevor's talking about. I think, is that the same one they run in the Big Three? Is that the same style that they run there?
No, so it's literally continuous. So the ball drops through the net, and the other team just has to get it. And once you clear it at the 3-point line, ball is completely live. And you can make it difficult for them to even clear it too. So, but basically the game just never stops. The only time you check up is on a foul or out of bounds. Aside from that, the game just keeps going.
And what's the difference between that and like Big Three? Big Three, isn't it continuous after you score as well?
I thought that they played differently. I honestly haven't watched Big Three too much, but I thought that they stopped in between. But
okay, you might be right, but I for some reason I felt like when they scored in Big Three, they kept playing. So if that is the case, then I haven't played that style where it's continuous like that. It sounds like it would be fun. I think I probably would prefer more of the check it up style, just because of what I'm used to. I don't know, but it's just another like point that you made, Og, about like the small actions you can work on in 3-on-3 that you don't necessarily have to have 5-on-5. Another thing about 3-on-3 is makes you work individually on your own defense because you don't have as much help. You know what I mean? So you've got to be able to guard that man and just stick to him, and it's going to help your individual skills on defense as well.
Yeah. You can get exposed in 3-on-3. Like you can make 3-on-3 into 1-on-1 real quick.
Yeah.
I love playing 3-on-3 and working on just screenaways. I love that. I don't know what it is. Like you can just totally work on that. And I don't know. I just can think of a couple of times I went and played that, and that's basically what me and my teammates did. Just worked on that. So anyways, okay. So Trevor, back to you real quick. What happens when you have 4-on-4? Okay, you're at, let's just say, a gym similar to Kennedy Paso, because we all know that one, and you got 4-on-4. It's up to you to set up. What are you guys gonna do? What are you doing right there?
I mean, if it's a group of like young people that are gonna run, then we'll probably try at least one game of full court for us. If it's not, if it's kind of a mix, then we'll typically just make it half court and shoot for teams.
Okay, now hold up. In case people are wondering why I'm asking this, it's because 4-on-4 you can play full court, and that's why he said, if it's younger people that are ready to go up and down, you can play full court. Well, Alex, what are some of the downsides? Can you think of any of playing 4-on-4 full court?
Yeah, I think it can get sloppy real quick if people, especially if they're not like in shape and ready to run, because the court is so much more, and as weird as that sounds, like 2 people less on the court, it seems like the court is so much more open. And I think it just gets so easy to just turn into like run down, throw a deep pass layup, like run down, throw a deep pass layup, I think my experiences with 4-on-4 full court is you might get a game out of it, and then after that, it just turns to kind of crap. So personally, like if we're talking all different styles, personally, my favorite is 5s full court. I'll run half court, if I have to, but I much prefer full court. And if I'm going to do full court, I like 5s. So I feel like anything under that, like 4s or 3s, I think it generally tends to do better in the half court, because it just, maybe because it like puts us in a smaller space and it makes the game more realistic to what like a real game is like, as opposed to 4s where like a full court is just so open. I feel like it just gets out of hand a lot.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking too, is when you run 4s full court, just like Trevor said, you better be in shape. And just like Alex said, it's going to be up and down, because just, all of a sudden there's 2 less players on the court. So there's so much space. But now I'll go ahead and just finish it out by saying the downside of 4-on-4 half court, though, is it just seems like there's no spacing, like at least at least 5-on-5 full court. Like there's a lot of opportunities where it is 3-on-3 or 2, there's a lot of times where it's transition and stuff. When you're 4-on-4 half court, you're stuck right there. And so I guess you got to get creative with it. But there's a lot of offenses you can run to with, 4-out spacing and that kind of stuff too. So it can be very game specific, but okay. So let's talk a little bit about pickup in this area and just the different levels of pickup. And I'll start it off just by pre-framing it with the fact that going from playing 3-on-3 in high school here at Kennedy Club Fitness, which is what I grew up doing here in Atascadero, indoors 3-on-3, all of a sudden I went to open gym in Monterey, where I went to college. And the first time I showed up, it was the same thing. I couldn't get on. The competition level was super high. And I'm talking about like just the grown men that were playing out there were just balling me up, and so I guess the question is I'll throw this at Trevor. Did you go through any moments like that when you went down there? I guess you kind of talked about 1 or 2, but what was like the biggest welcome to the NBA moment you have? Do you ever get dunked on down there?
I've yet to get dunked on. Hopefully keep that streak going. But I would say the main one was it didn't come when I went to Venice, like when I have been there for the past few years. It came when I moved when I was in high school. And I went to the tryout for my high school, even though like I knew I wasn't going to be able to actually play the season because of our living situation. And so I went, and I'm a junior, so I'm like, oh, I should be trying out with the varsity guys. And this varsity coach like looked at me like I was insane and said, nope, get over there. And the next gym over, the JV's waiting for you, little guy. And so I get over there, and we're just playing. All it is pickup, and I get put on a team. And from what I remember, my team really wasn't that bad, but we were just getting annihilated. And you would just rotate, and it was all just in this one high school that I was at, all kids from there, and I was just getting destroyed. I couldn't keep up on defense. I mean, I was probably a little out of shape than I have been, but yeah, that was kind of my wake up call, was like, whoa, you're not in Kansas anymore, kind of thing. Like,
Wow.
better step it up. And then go into LA Fitness and stuff after that, and my confidence is super low, and it took a while. And so I'm just starting to do like drills and just practice hours and hours and hours on my own with random people that I find, and just kind of building it up, trying to play one-on-one with people that like I've seen play pickup there that usually play pretty good in the games. Just kind of build up my game that way, and then slowly got into where I felt confident and felt comfortable playing in the regular pickup runs in those gyms and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure the jumper got developed, because once you develop a jumper, it really opens up your game a lot, because now people got to guard you in a different way. So that's a great tip for anybody. Develop that jumper. And I mean, that's what happened to me. I couldn't shoot that great in high school. Once I developed the jumper in college, like, everything took off for me there. So, okay. What about you, Alex? Any moments, in the Bay Area, was there any good open gyms?
Yeah, I mean, just when I was in college, we just used to run at school, we used to run at Menlo. So with my teammates, but honestly, the first time though that I really experienced like a large group of, like a run that was a lot different than what I normally did, was actually when I was at Cuesta. So before I went up to Menlo, because I used to play kind of like how you did it in Atascadero. I used to go to the Slow Kennedy when I was like 17 or 18, and I used to play open gym out there. And so I'd go down there and play. And again, it was good playing with adults and all that, but it wasn't really the same as obviously playing against, full college athletes all the time. And I remember when I went to Cuesta and I tried out there, the first like day, there was like legitimately like 50 or 60 people at this open gym, like trying out. It was like a crazy amount that I haven't seen that happen since. And you had like everybody from the area that was still trying to play, that was an all county player, all this or all that. And then like, 40 kids from out of the area that were trying to come and play. And it was one of those, it's just like a memory that something I always remember, because you had guys from, local guys that thought they were really good. And then you had guys coming from out of the area that were like even way better than them. And I just remember like guys going at it and just talking trash, like dunking on each other. It was kind of one of those things I was like, oh, holy crap. Like this is a little bit different than playing pickup at Kennedy, So that was probably the first time I really experienced like a really large competitive style pickup environment, I guess. But it was really at a tryout, but it was still the same idea, because the first like week or two of tryouts is just playing pickup and just kind of weeding people out. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think everyone can have, relate and have their own story of their, that one time they went to that one open gym and played against somebody. So, all right, you guys have heard a lot from Trevor today about, all of his experience. This guy, like I said, is good, doing things great for the culture. He's organizing pickup runs all the time. He's working with Project Basketball now. And so I want to definitely dive into that right now, which is doing a lot of cool things for the game. So why don't you go ahead and just give us a quick rundown of what Project Backboard is? I'm sorry, Project Backboard. I did that twice now. All right, go ahead and give us a rundown of what it is.
Yeah, so Project Backboard was founded by Dan Peterson. And so it started, he worked for the Grizzlies in their like nonprofit. So basically they had Grizzlies, and I guess this is typical for most NBA teams, is they have two nonprofits, and one gets more funding and the other one is kind of the ugly stepchild, doesn't get as much attention. And so he was in the ugly stepchild one, and they didn't get much funding. He was always trying to push different projects for the community over in Memphis, and they either didn't have money or they wouldn't do it. And so he kind of got fed up with it eventually. And then he got like a new boss, and he just kind of saw that they weren't quite clicking, and he probably was gonna get booted out. And so his like last thing that he did was he went and made it a mission of his to go redo all the game lines on all the outside courts in Memphis. And
Wow.
so he went and started doing those. And then while he's there, there was an artist that he met at one of the parks while he's doing it, and he asked them to come up with a design for the key, and they came up with a design for the entire court instead and said, "Here you go." And he was like, "Oh," and that was kind of like the light bulb moment. He's like, "There's something here." And so that's kind of how Project Backboard, the birth of it. And now, I mean, you see basketball. He was the originator of it, and now you see people painting basketball courts all over the world with different murals, different designs. And I'm sure there's some that had been done prior to that, but he kind of made it into the mainstream. And he's got commercials on GoDaddy, from GoDaddy that run on national TV during NBA games and stuff. Everyone's it's kind of becoming a household name, and it's really just him, his brother, me, and a couple other guys that are like mainly involved in the circle, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, I just it's been amazing to get to travel to different places, see different cultures. I mean, I spent almost a month and a half in Puerto Rico last year, like doing painting two basketball courts, which one of them wound up being like the most beautiful court I've ever seen. And it was up in the rainforest, up in these mountains, and you had just these people coming and watching on the fence every single day, waiting. They were just so grateful, and they said that they felt that they had been forgotten and that no one cared. And I mean, it's crazy, just like these different cultures in these different places. I mean, I've done ones in Watts. I've done ones in like super known to be super bad areas, like bad parts of Oakland. And we go there just like no fear, not even like thinking about that stuff, just doing it. And it's awesome to see the reactions and like the love that some of these courts are going to get when we leave. So that's honestly been like the coolest thing, because it's like you coach, and I mean, I've coached a little bit, not that it's anywhere near what you guys have done, but it's like you coach and you're touching that handful of kids. Those are your group. You're impacting that many lives. And it's like, to me, it's like these courts kind of impact an infinite amount of lives. And it's like, for me growing up, like I felt, I don't know, it was like NBA or bust, which obviously I wasn't ever going to make the NBA. But when you're a little kid, like that's what you think. Like, I got to make the NBA to make it in basketball. Or it's like maybe on the back burner, you're like thinking to yourself, you could be like a broadcaster or something. You're seeing like Reggie Miller and Ernie and all these dudes. And it's like, to me, it's like you see these courts, you see the art side of basketball, and it almost unlocks a whole different side of the game that never was talked about, never gets mentioned. And to me, that's honestly the coolest part about it, is if I was that little kid and I'm seeing all these colors and all these things on the court, what would that make me want to do?
Yeah, definitely want to go out there and shoot around. And that's cool, man. I that's true. I mean, so many people are going to get to enjoy those courts, and hopefully someone will refurbish them someday, just like you guys did. And you just got to keep paying it forward, I guess. So, okay. So you, I just want to get one final question in before we get this whole thing wrapped up. And it's a little bit more about Project Backboard. So, just go ahead and explain all the different places that you've gone and put courts on, and you can go ahead and drop your Instagram, because it's a great thing for people to check out.
Yeah, so check out Project Backboard on Instagram for sure. And then my Instagram, I've got some stuff, but it's more personal. Project Backboard's got the most of it. But I mean, I've been Puerto Rico, like I said. I've been to Miami. I've been to Milwaukee. I've been to Mexico City in Mexico. I've been Oakland, San Diego, I just got back from.
Wow. Okay.
All over LA, Phoenix, Arizona, Tempe, Arizona. I lose track, honestly, but it's taken me all over, which is, I mean, that's another thing, is like everyone thinks you got to play basketball for it to take you places, and there's other ways for it to take you places too.
Just like Nick from France, right? Look what he's doing over here. He didn't play no
Yeah.
D1 or anything, maybe, but he can hoop. That's for
No.
sure. But
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks so much for being on the episode today, man. I think we talked about a lot of cool topics today that we normally didn't get to talk about. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, man. It's an honor to be with you guys and see you guys again. It's been a while. Hopefully you guys come hoop soon. We got runs going. I got a run to go to right after this.
All right. Well, we'll let you get to that. And thank you to everybody else for watching or listening into today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, you can subscribe there as well. We come out with a new episode once a week, and we hope to see you guys in the next one.
Peace.